What if I told you there are 3 compliments, so powerful, so rare, that they can stay in a woman's mind for days, maybe even make her quietly obsess over you? Not the empty cliches like, "You're beautiful," or "I love your smile." These are words that touch something deeper, words that awaken her emotions and make her see you differently than every other man. But before we dive in, let me welcome you to Stoic Reflections, the place where ancient Stoic wisdom meets modern psychology. Here we don't believe in shallow tricks. We believe in self-mastery, presence, and timeless principles that build real respect, attraction, and strength. In today's lesson, you'll discover 3 forbidden compliments that align with both psychology and Stoic philosophy. Compliments that don't just flatter her vanity, but reveal her mind, her spirit, and her deeper identity. Used wisely, they make you unforgettable. Used carelessly, they create attachments you may not be ready for. So let's begin. Forbidden compliment 1. There's something about the way you think. It's different. Most men, when they speak to women, take the easy route. They compliment her looks, her hair, or her smile. But here's the truth. Beauty fades, and surface-level praise disappears as quickly as it's spoken. If you want to stand apart, you need to notice what others miss. That's where this first forbidden compliment comes in. When you tell a woman, "There's something about the way you think, it's different," you're not talking about her appearance, you're recognizing her inner world, her mind, her unique lens on life. This is rare, because very few men ever make a woman feel that her thoughts are as beautiful as her face. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By admiring her way of thinking, you're admiring her very soul. You're telling her that her perspective matters. And in a world where most men only see the surface, that kind of recognition makes you unforgettable. Psychology explains why this works. There's something called the Zeigarnik effect. Our mind remembers unfinished conversations more than completed ones. By saying her way of thinking is different, you plant an open loop in her mind. She will keep wondering, what did he see in me? What made him say that? That curiosity keeps you in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. Here's how you use it. Imagine you're discussing a book, a film, or even an everyday topic. She gives her opinion. Instead of nodding, you pause, hold her gaze, and say calmly, "There's something about the way you think. It's different." Then you let silence do the work. You don't explain. You don't rush. You let her wonder. And in that wondering, she starts to see you differently. The Stoics believed in truth, not flattery. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This compliment is most powerful when it's authentic, when her thought truly stands out. Don't use it as a trick. Use it as recognition. Because recognition builds respect, and respect builds attraction. This first compliment is more than words. It tells her that you don't just see her surface, you see her essence. And in that moment, you separate yourself from the crowd. Forbidden compliment 2. You make people around you feel alive. Most men stop at the obvious when they compliment women. They say things like, "You're beautiful," or "You're gorgeous." Those words may feel nice for a moment, but they are forgettable, because every other man says them. If you want your words to leave a mark, you need to go deeper. And this compliment does exactly that. When you tell a woman, "You make people around you feel alive," you shift the focus from her looks to her energy. You're not just noticing how she appears, you're noticing the impact she has on others. And that matters more than you think. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Every human being craves something. To feel significant, to know their presence matters. When you say she makes people feel alive, you fulfill that craving. You're telling her, you don't just exist, you inspire. That is a compliment few men ever give. Here's why this works so powerfully. Many women secretly fear being ordinary, overlooked or replaceable. They may hear that they're attractive, but attraction tied only to beauty fades. But when you tell her she makes others feel alive, you connect her worth to something timeless. Her ability to influence energy, emotion, and atmosphere. Imagine you're at a gathering. She laughs, and suddenly the room feels lighter. Most men would say, "You have a cute laugh, forgettable." Instead, you lean in and say, "You know, when you laugh, people feel more alive around you." That's unforgettable. It links her presence to vitality, joy, and life itself. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." A good man notices what others overlook. By recognizing her ability to lift others, you show her that you are not shallow but deeply perceptive. But here's the Stoic caution. Use this only when it's real. Seneca taught, "Truth is simple, illusion makes it intricate." If you flatter without meaning it, your words will feel empty. But if you use this phrase in a moment when her energy truly does change the room, your words will cut deeper than any surface-level compliment ever could. This compliment does more than make her feel attractive. It ties your presence to her significance. And when someone makes us feel significant, we don't forget them. Forbidden compliment 3. I don't think you even realize how rare you are, and that's what fascinates me. This is the most powerful of the three, because it speaks to the deepest human desire, the need to feel unique. Most compliments focus on beauty, charm, or intelligence. But those qualities are common, many people can claim them. Rare, however, is different. Rare means irreplaceable. Rare means one of a kind. And when you tell a woman she is rare, you touch the part of her that longs to stand apart from everyone else. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. But remember this, what is rare is valuable." The Stoics understood that rarity gives worth. Gold is valuable because it is scarce. Diamonds are treasured because they are not easily found. In the same way, when you recognize a woman as rare, you elevate her value in her own eyes. When you say, "I don't think you even realize how rare you are, and that's what fascinates me," you do two things at once. First, you separate her from the crowd. Second, you spark curiosity by suggesting she doesn't even know her own uniqueness. This creates tension. She begins to wonder, what does he see in me that I don't see in myself? And in searching for that answer, she thinks of you again and again. This taps into what psychology calls the scarcity effect, the human tendency to place higher value on what is uncommon. By framing her as rare, you awaken her need to live up to that image. She will subconsciously try to prove you right, and that effort binds her attention to you. Picture this in practice. You're in a deep conversation, and she shares something vulnerable, her passion, her struggle, her philosophy. Most men would respond with, "That's amazing," or "Wow, impressive." But you pause, look at her with calm presence and say, "I don't think you even realize how rare you are, and that's what fascinates me." Those words carry weight. They echo in her mind long after the moment has passed. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Rarity is forged through difficulty, and when you recognize her as rare, you are indirectly acknowledging her battles, her strength, her hidden story. That recognition doesn't flatter her, it validates her. But here's the Stoic caution. Use this line sparingly, and only when you feel it is true. If every person you meet is rare, the word loses its power. Stoicism demands honesty and restraint. The strength of this compliment lies in its authenticity. Delivered sincerely, this final compliment has the power to make her pause, reflect, and look at you differently. Because in that moment, you are not just another man admiring her, you are the man who sees her essence. And that is unforgettable. So let's reflect. The first compliment, there's something about the way you think, it's different, awakens her mind. It makes her curious and ties your presence to her inner world. The second compliment, you make people around you feel alive, honors her energy. It gives her significance and makes her see herself as a source of light, not just beauty. And the third compliment, I don't think you even realize how rare you are, and that's what fascinates me. Touches the deepest level of all, identity. It separates her from the crowd and makes her want to prove you right. Used together, these compliments are more than words. They're reflections of a deeper truth. Attraction is not built on tricks but on presence. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are calm, sincere, and rooted in wisdom, your words carry power that others can feel. But remember, with great power comes responsibility. These compliments are not games. They are tools for connection, and the Stoic path demands honesty. Use them with authenticity, and you will stand out, not as a man chasing validation, but as a man others respect and remember. This has been Stoic Reflections, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. If today's lesson gave you value, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more Stoic truths applied to attraction, relationships, and self-mastery. Now I leave you with a question. Which of these three compliments do you believe carries the most power, and why?